I've got to cover this because it's our favorite Mushnick, everybody's favorite Mushnick in wrestling. All right.
Oh, God.
It's Phil of the New York Post. Vince did an interview on a different radio show, and New York Post, I guess he did an interview with Howard Stern at the time, and
wow, what's going wrong there?
Yeah, I saw clips of it, and I don't know, it was an awkward ass interview, and I was like, why is Vince McMahon here? I know why he's here, the obvious, but like, why is he there? You know, he just looked so.
About sexual positions.
My gosh. He looked so out of place and awkward. I don't know. It went okay, though. About as okay as a Howard Stern interview can go.
What is that saying?
Nobody got naked and wrote anything, so there's that.
Well, why am I watching this?
Exactly. But I guess New York Post reporter Phil Mushnick called in while Vince was on the radio show. Because, you know, this can only go well, Greg.
First of all, I think he hates Howard Stern, too, so.
Go figure.
Why would they take his call?
Well, no, this was not on Stern. This was a different radio interview, I guess. But Mushnick did not come off good. Go figure. Uncle Dave says Mushnick made some good points if you were going to read them on paper, line by line. But listening to him, Mushnick made things personal and got so pissed at Vince that he came off just as bad as Vince did in the Costas interview. Mushnick's demeanor was totally out of line, to the point where he basically buried himself. Vince just sat back and listened. He asked if Vince still used steroids, which Vince, of course, denied. Vince admitted to using them when he was younger, when they were, quote, legal. And then he and Mushnick bickered over the semantics of what legal means, because technically the ones Vince got from Dr. Zahorian back in those days certainly were not legal. Mushnick also brought up the sexual abuse allegations of the early 90s, which Vince also dismissed, saying no charges were ever brought, and then outright denied that it even happened. Mushnick called BS and said years ago Vince himself had told Mushnick that he knew about Mel Phillips' behavior, and he kept him employed after only scolding him to stop molesting ring boys.
Yeah, I'm sure that's something Vince would admit to.
Right, yeah. He's like, he would just tell a reporter offhandedly, he's like, well, I knew he was diddling young boys, but, you know, I kept him around.
And look, this is off the record.
Yeah. As he's walking out, he's like, hey, Phil, off the record, see ya.
Wow.
I do not consent, and then he just walks away. But then they started on about all the usual WWF is too risque complaints, and Uncle Dave says that Mushnick seemed to have an obvious vendetta against Vince, which made him look bad. Anyways, all of this leads to Uncle Dave recapping in detail the pedophilia and sexual abuse allegations of the early 90s and the lawsuits, bad publicity, and roles of Terry Garvin, Mel Phillips, and Pat Patterson, Vince's subsequent lawsuits against Mushnick and Geraldo Rivera, who both cover the stories.
Geraldo.
The Stash.
The Stash, yes.
Yep. Here's something I didn't know about, by the way. I guess I forgot.
He's still on TV to this day, isn't he?
Oh, yeah, he works for Fox News. So, Fox News.